Media? There's no media. Controlling officer, my name is Jonathan Daka, Member of Parliament for Chadiza constituency in Eastern Province, and also a chairperson, acting chairperson for this committee. Controlling officer, you can proceed to introduce your team.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. My name is Henry Mkungule, Permanent Secretary for Mchinga Province and Controlling Officer of the province. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Good morning, Honorable Chair and the members. My name is Brasho Kavengere, Director of Finance for Mchinga Province.
Good morning, Honorable Chair and the members. I'm Kapaso Benson, Principal Accountant, Provincial Administration, Mchinga. Thank you.
Good morning, Honorable Chair. My name is Sandra Malea Kambleki, the Regional Coordinator for Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit, Mchinga Province.
Good morning, Honorable Chair and members. I'm Wamba Lilian, Chief Human Resource Management Officer, Mchinga Province.
Good morning, Chair and the members. I'm Akatama Marikana, Youth Development Coordinator, Mchinga.
Good morning, Chair and members. My name is Kamenda Mata, Assistant Director, Planning, Mchinga. Thank you.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, members. My name is Helga Ngambi Luhanga, Zambia Meteorological Department.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, members. My name is Shimba Patrick. I'm the Provincial Water and Sanitation Officer from Mchinga Province.
Okay.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, members. My name is Ruth Dasila Jerry, Senior Internal Auditor, Mchinga Provincial Administration.
Are you done? Okay. Thank you, PS and your team. We do welcome you before this honorable committee. PS, let me take this opportunity to confer you with immunity in accordance with Cap 12 of the laws of Zambia, National Assembly Powers and Privileges Act, which gives you immunity as you make submission before this honorable committee. However, the same law can work against you if you willingly want to mislead this committee. That is also read in line with Standing Orders number 175, which ensures that you follow the proceedings as guided by the chairperson. In this regards, me. And the PS, before I can request you to proceed to make your submissions, would like to apologize sincerely for starting the meeting late. It's because we had the carryover from yesterday. To that effect, PS, I ask you to proceed and make your submission. You can proceed. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Allow me to begin by giving the introduction. Honorable Chairperson, and receipt of
maybe I give a bit of guidance. The introduction is not necessary. Controlling officer, I think what we would want to hear from you is that you read the query and your management response, the two. You can skip the tables and those other things. Kindly proceed.
Thank you. Honorable Chair, allow me to provide my responses to the audits as follows.
Can you switch on the mic, please? Speak to them.
Provincial Administration, Mchinga Province, is mandated to coordinate and implement national programs and policies at provincial level. An examination of accounting and other records of the financial year ended 31 December 2022, maintained at Provincial Administration Headquarters, and 5 selected district offices for the period under review reviewed the following: A, budget, funding and expenditure. In the estimates of revenue and expenditure for the financial year ended 31st December 2022.
Controlling officer, have guided, you can just read the query and your management response. Just like under budget, funding and expenditure.
Yeah, this is the query.
Then you can go to, you can just mention budget, funding and expenditure. Then you go to management response.
Okay.
Just skip the other.
Okay. So budget, funding and expenditure. In the estimates of revenue and expenditure for the financial year ended 31st December 2022, I go to the response.
Yeah, just go to the response. I've guided enough.
Okay, this is the response. I wish to acknowledge the Auditor General's observation and wish to submit that in the estimates of revenue and expenditure for the financial year ended 31st December 2022, a total budget provision of 67,800,000 and was made to cater for the operations of provincial administration, and the whole amount was released. Corrective action. Management will adequately engage the budget office so that all the budget funds are released in good time to enable the province spend all funds on planned activities. B, irregular payment of rural and remote hardship allowances. Response. We appreciate the opportunity to respond to the audit query raised concerning the payment of rural and remote hardship allowances totaling 142,900 to 11 officers whose workstations were not designated for such allowances. We take these findings seriously, and I would like to assure you that immediate corrective actions are being taken to address the identified issues and prevent similar occurrences in the future. We now wish to state that recoveries have been instituted on the affected officers. Refer to Appendix 1. Corrective action. To address this, we have implemented the following corrective measures. 1. Enhanced eligibility verification. We have strengthened our verification process to ensure that allowances are paid only to officers whose workstations are designated for rural and remote hardship allowances. This includes a detailed review of workstations against the established criteria before processing any payments. 2. Regular training and awareness programs. We will conduct regular training sessions for the PEMIC end users, the staff involved in the allowance payment process, to educate them about the eligibility criteria, proper documentation and verification procedures. This ongoing training will enhance their understanding and awareness of the guidelines governing allowances. 3. Increased oversight and monitoring. We are enhancing the oversight and monitoring mechanism within our province. This will involve periodic internal audits and spot checks to validate the accuracy of allowance payments. Additionally, supervisors will be responsible for ensuring that allowances are only processed for eligible officers. 4. Improved documentation and record keeping. We are implementing a more robust documentation and record keeping system to maintain clear and auditable records of officers' eligibility for allowances. Proper documentation will be maintained for each officer, outlining the justification for the payment of allowances. We sincerely regret the oversight that led to the erroneous payment of allowances to officers who were not eligible. We appreciate the audit team's diligence in identifying this issue, as it has enabled us to strengthen our internal controls and improve our processes significantly. Please be assured that we are committed to implementing these corrective actions promptly and effectively. C. Unaccounted for fuel. Controlling officers' response. We acknowledge the Auditor General's observation concerning the non-accountability of disposal details for fuel costing 33,321 kwacha, as per Regulation 16 of the Finance Control and Management Public Stores Regulations. We appreciate your attention to this matter and assure you that we take this issue seriously. Honorable Chairperson, I wish to report that we conducted a thorough investigation to understand the lapses in our internal processes that led to the lack of disposal details for the mentioned fuel procurement. Our investigation revealed gaps in our record-keeping procedures. In addition, disposal records were retrieved from the end-user departments and have been available for further verifications. It is also worth noting that at verification stage, photocopies for logbooks for the Water and Sanitation Department were presented to auditors as the provincial engineer was out attending a workshop in Livingstone with the same vehicle. It was difficult for auditors then to make a resolution as only originals were required. Corrective action. To address this issue and prevent its occurrence, we have implemented the following corrective actions. 1. Documentation review and rectification. We have conducted a comprehensive review of all procurement and disposal documentations related to the fuel in question. Missing disposal details have been identified and rectified. Additionally, we have established a systematic process to ensure that all future procurements and disposals are accurately documented and maintained as per the regulations. To enhance internal controls, we are strengthening our internal controls related to the management of public stores, especially fuel. Clear guidelines have been disseminated to all stores, officers, and relevant staff regarding the proper recording of receipts and issues of public stores. Regular training sessions will be conducted to reinforce compliance with the regulations and internal policies. 3. Accountability and oversight. We are enhancing the accountability of officers responsible for public stores. Designated personnel will undergo training to improve their understanding of the regulations and their responsibilities. Additionally, there will be increased oversight to ensure that all transactions involving public stores, including fuel, are accurately recorded and reported. We regret the oversight that led to the lack of disposal details for the fuel procurement mentioned in the audit report. We are committed to rectifying this issue and strengthening our internal controls to prevent similar instances in the future. D. Failure to secure and repair weather stations. Controlling officers' response. We appreciate the detailed findings outlined in the audit report, specifically regarding the theft of equipment and the lack of security measures at Isoka weather stations, as well as the failure to repair damaged meteorological equipment. We take these matters seriously and acknowledge the importance of addressing the concerns raised. I wish to report that the equipment at the stations cited in Table 2 above could not be repaired because mercury thermometers are no longer easily accessible, as the producers are now producing digital thermometers, hence the delay to replace them. However, the Ministry of Green Economy and Environment has procured automated weather equipment which they have installed in Mpika, Shiwangandu, Chinsali, Isoka and Nakonde districts in Mchinga province. Refer to Appendix 2. Corrective action. Upon receiving the audit report, our management team conducted a thorough review of the security protocols and maintained procedures in place at our weather stations. We have identified the following areas for improvement and have taken immediate action to rectify the situation. 1. Enhanced security measures. In response to the theft incidents at the Isoka weather station, we have engaged local law enforcement agencies to enhance surveillance in the vicinity of the weather stations. 2. Regular performance monitoring. We are implementing a robust monitoring system to track the performance of all weather stations, ensuring that they meet the required standards for data collection and transmission. Regular performance reviews will be conducted and necessary actions will be taken to address any deviation from the established benchmarks. 3. Stakeholder engagement. We are collaborating closely with local communities and relevant stakeholders to create awareness about the importance of meteorological equipment and the need for collective efforts to safeguard these assets. Community engagement programs will be conducted to foster a sense of ownership and vigilance among the local population. We acknowledge the critical role that meteorological data plays in various sectors, including disaster management and agriculture. Rest assured that we are committed in ensuring the reliability and accuracy of our data by addressing the security and maintenance issues highlighted in your audit report.
Kindly proceed to paragraph 34.
Thank you. A controlling officer's response. In the period under review, the organization received a total funding of $1,920,000 in the general deposit account, with an opening balance of $2,500,000. Total expenditure for the year was $2,300,000, leaving a closing balance of $2,040,000 as of December 31, 2022. This balance was earmarked for various purposes like Nakonde border post compensation, youth scheme grants, and planning unit capex funds. Some funds couldn't be utilized due to delays in guidelines and procurement processes. Youth scheme grants were disbursed, planning unit assets were procured, but border post compensation funds in Nakonde were pending finalization. Additionally, the disaster management and mitigation unit received $1,500,000, combined with a balance brought forward of $1,600,000, totaling $3,100,000. The province also received $3,400,000 from the Ministry of Water Development and Sanitation for borehole drilling, rehabilitation and office operations in the water and sanitation account. B. Failure to disburse youth scheme grant funds. Controlling officer's response. We acknowledge and appreciate the Auditor General's observation regarding the disbursement of grants to vulnerable youths during the period under review. We recognize the importance of these funds in supporting the well-being of our community members and regret the delay in their full utilization. Honorable Chairperson, I wish to state that amounts totaling $132,000 remained undisbursed during the period under review due to the following challenges. 1. Administrative bottlenecks. There were administrative delays at district level in the verification and approval process for grant disbursement, leading to slower than expected pace of fund allocation. 2. Verification procedures. Stringent verification procedures were in place to ensure that funds were disbursed to eligible and deserving beneficiaries. While these checks are essential, they contributed to the slowdown in the disbursement process. The delays by district youth empowerment committees in submitting lists of applicants, beneficiaries greatly affected the quick disbursement of funds. However, I should report that the lists of beneficiaries were received, verified, and paid by 20th June 2023. See Appendix 3 for payment details. Corrective action. To expedite the disbursement of the funds, we are improving communication channels with applicants and beneficiaries, providing them with clear guidelines on the application process and expected timelines for disbursement. This will enhance transparency and keep stakeholders informed about the status of their applications. See failure to pay distributors of relief maize. Controlling officers' response. We acknowledge receipt of Auditor General's observation concerning the relief maize distribution activity conducted by the Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit Regional Office during the period under review. Honorable Chairperson, I wish to provide the following responses and action taken to address the concerns raised. Isoka. Society of St. Vincent de Paul, the project implementing partner that was engaged in to distribute a total of 200 metric tons of white maize to the vulnerable communities in Isoka district, has since been paid for what they distributed. A total of 164.5 metric tons was distributed by the project implementing partner, and they have since been paid 85,540 at 520 per metric ton. The balance of 35.5 metric tons has not yet been acquitted by the vendor, hence is still not paid for. This balance was reported to the police as missing, where the then district commissioner was said to have collected 35.5 metric tons for distribution in the district. He, however, failed to account for the maize, and the case was reported to police for investigations. I further wish to inform you, Chair, that the officer was fired and is no longer in employment, awaiting the outcome of police investigations. Refer to Appendix 4. Mpika. Caritas Mpika, the project implementing partner, who was engaged to distribute a total of 400 metric tons of white maize in Nabwalia and Mukungule chiefdoms in Mpika district, has since been paid a total of 151,580 kwacha for a total of 291.5 metric tons distributed to the vulnerable communities in Mpika district. The PIP failed to distribute the remaining balance of 108.5 metric tons. As a result, the contract was terminated for failure to complete the distribution of white maize. Further, I wish to report that a new project implementing partner has since been engaged to distribute the remaining 108.5 metric tons. Refer to Appendix 4. Mafinga. Ngiwe General Dealers, a project implementing partner engaged to distribute a total of 200 metric tons of white maize in Mafinga district, had not yet been paid the balance of 52,000 kwacha, as the project implementing partner had not yet completed the distribution during the audit process. I now wish to inform you that the project implementing partner has successfully completed the distribution and has since been paid the balance in question. Refer to Appendix 4. Corrective action. The following measures were implemented. The then District Commissioner for Isoka was dismissed on grounds of failing to account for the 5.5 metric tons of maize he collected from the project implementing partner St. Vincent de Paul. 2. A total of 164.5 metric tons was successfully distributed to intended beneficiaries, and payments have been made to project implementing partners in full. 3. The contract with the project implementing partner from Pika Caritas was terminated for failure to distribute 108.5 metric tons of white maize, and a new contractor, Nawalia Catholic Church of Mpika District, has since been engaged to distribute the remaining maize. D. Unauthorized fuel drawings. I wish to acknowledge the Auditor General's observation and wish to submit that we regret that fuel costing 18,879 kwacha was drawn by an officer from the filling station without approval from the Office of the Provincial Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit Coordinator. Honorable Chairperson, I wish to state that the officer in question was written to and warned severely. The office has since recovered the amount from the erring officer in full for drawing fuel without authority. Refer to Appendix 5 for deposit slips, government receipts, and a bank statement that confirms the recovery of the full amount. Corrective action. The following action has been initiated. Immediate rectification. Appropriate disciplinary measures has been taken against the employees involved. This includes cautioning the officer against committing the same irregularity in future and recovering the said amount from the affected officer. Enhanced oversight and controls. To prevent similar incidents in the future, we are implementing enhanced oversight and control measures within our fuel management system. This includes reinforcing the approval protocols and implementing regular reconciliation to ensure transparency and accountability in all fuel-related transactions. We sincerely apologize for this lapse and assure you that we are committed to rectifying the situation and preventing such incidents in the future. Honorable Chair, I submit.
Thank you, Controlling Officer. Honorable members, we are now free to ask questions. We'll start with the under A, under budget funding and expenditure. Honorable Mwira.
Thank you very much, Chair. Controlling Officer, considering that the entire budget was funded by the Treasury and that there was a balance unspent, so I want to find out, did you get Treasury authority, for carryover of the funds that remained unspent of the total funds that were released? Thank you, Chair.
Controlling Officer, can you respond to that?
Thank you, Chair. Allow me, Chair, to invite the Director of Finance to help me to answer that question. Director of Finance.
Thank you, Chair. The money that were not spent, these are funds that were sitting in the Treasury single account at Ministry of Finance, and by the end of the year, if the money is not used, it is mopped out. In short, we did not obtain Treasury authority to have that carryover.
Honorable Mnyima.
Thank you, Chair. Why didn't you obtain Treasury authority to carry over, and what activities suffered for carrying over these resources?
Controlling officer, can you respond to that?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Before I call the Director of Finance to help me, allow me to mention that in our report we indicated that much of the money that remained are monies that were meant for border control compensations. And that is the largest chunk that remained and has still not been given out. Maybe allow me to invite Director of Finance to continue.
Director of Finance.
The other funds that remained unspent, they were not spent because of the procurement procedures. The funding was there late December, so some of the funds could not be spent.
The controlling officer, I think you are not responding appropriate to this issue. The members of the committee would want to know that whether you are aware that you can ask for authority to retain the funds instead of the funds to be mopped back to Control 99. You have got a provision under the law that you can apply for authority to retain the funds. So why didn't you apply for authority to retain the funds?
Perhaps, Chair, it did not occur to us at that time that there was that provision for us to apply for funds. However, this year we tried to do the same. We sent the Director of Finance to go and request to apply for the monies that were meant for the investment forum to be ring-fenced. However, that was not provided for. Ministry of Finance could not provide for the ring-fencing of the funds.
Maybe probably failed to justify why they couldn't give you authority to retain the funds. But it's important because normally the activities that suffer, when such a thing happened, like the honorable members asked you to mention, to state which activities suffered, and to that effect, it's important that you take keen interest to make sure that you secure the funds in the interest of the Zambians, because when the funds are mopped back, it's the Zambians who suffer. So next time, I think it's important as a controlling officer to ensure that you use the law to the fullest, especially some of these provisions which favor the interests of Zambians. Honorable members, any follow-up questions on A? If no, we can proceed to B, irregular payments of rural and remote hardship allowance. Honorable Lungu.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay, now the list.
On page 3, under B, the terms and conditions of service for the public service number 166 and the Cabinet Office, circular number B2 of 2010 states, an officer serving in an area declared to be rural area shall be entitled to receive hardship allowance at a rate may be determined by the government from time to time. In your submission, Controlling Officer, you have stated that you have taken immediate collective action to address identified issues to prevent similar occurrences in the future. Further, you have harvested that recoveries have been instituted on the affected officers. My question to you, Controlling Officer, is what action did you take on the staff who approved these irregular payments? The second one, do you have documents to show this committee that payment have been stopped and recoveries have instituted against the affected officers? I submit. Thank you, Chair.
Controlling Officer, can you respond to those two questions?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Allow me to begin with the second question. I think we have the details, we have the proof that we started recovering, and for some affected officers, we have completed recovering the monies. For the first question, I will ask my officers to help me, but before the human resource officer comes in, I would like to say that the problem that we have had in the past is that when officers are transferred, sometimes they are given the letters of transfer and we are not given copies, or sometimes when copies reach ourselves it's a little bit late. The officers will have already continued getting their salaries with the allowances. By the time we come to detect, they will have gotten maybe 2-3 months of the remote allowances. So that is the challenge that we have had in the past. Allow me, Chair, maybe to invite the Chief Human Resource Officer to just add on to what I've said. Chief
Human Resource Officer, proceed.
Thank you, Chair. Like the controlling officer has indicated, because of the dual reporting system by these departments that are under Control 88, sometimes the line ministries effect the transfers without the consent of the local PS, who is the controlling officer in this case. And as he indicated, by the time we receive these letters, we would realize that probably about 2 months or so have been paid to the officers. In some instances, they also receive their letters of transfers rather late, so they don't leave immediately they receive their transfer letters. I submit, Chair.
Honorable Lungu, any follow-up question? Mike, okay.
Thank you, Chair. I don't seem to understand what in your submission when you said at times it takes maybe 2 months when the transfer has been effected without maybe the PS knowing. Are you people, your working relationship in line with the mandate of the government? Because if it is, I don't think it can take those months without the administrative officer to know what is happening in the jurisdiction of the ministry. I would like to find out from the PS, like the way she has submitted, are you agreeable to what she has submitted to this committee? Because the committee is at say, we can't understand, we are lost. I submit here.
Before PS you take that one, there are systems in place. This committee is not going to take lame excuses. There are well-established systems that are already in effect. Look, for instance, do you conduct monthly reconciliations? Do you submit monthly labor returns? All these things have been put in place to ensure that we arrest any eventualities in its earliest state. So to hear from a human resource officer to say that the PS wasn't informed of a transfer, there's where these people report to on a day-to-day basis. They'll be able to notice absenteeism, and to that effect, they're supposed to immediately raise the red flag to say this worker hasn't been reporting for work for 10 to maybe 5 to 10 days. I don't think this committee would take such type of an excuse. The issue is you have to take full responsibility. Systems are already there. How does it take the entire government system to fail to detect absenteeism from 1 or 2 members from work? Controlling officer, this committee would want to get befitting responses from your people. And if you continue giving us what is not satisfactory, I mean, we will request you to resubmit your submission so that you give us what is befitting. So can you explain to this committee why it had to take so long before you could detect that someone wasn't coming for work?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Allow me, Chair, to mention that as I said, and as the Chief Human Resource mentioned, provincial administration deals with the officers that fall directly under provincial administration, as well as officers that fall in other line ministries. So when transfers are effected by other line ministries, sometimes the copies do not reach us in good time for us now to start searching the PEMIC, the payroll. So this is where the delay comes in, Honorable Chair.
Okay, to that effect, now, what course of action have you taken against these erring officers?
Honorable Chair, the only course of action that we have taken is that of recovery of the monies that they erroneously got, that we started recovering.
No, we would want to disciplinary action, not, yes, recoveries are most welcome, but what course of action have you taken against those who approved these irregular payments? Have you taken any? If you haven't, just say we haven't.
No, Honorable Chair, I have to say that we have not done that.
Honorable Mwila.
Thank you very much. Chair, this issue of human resource is a problem in all these government departments, ministries. And for me, I feel for the affected staff. Because if it is not my fault that you are paying me this allowance, which according to your regulations I don't deserve, and it's not my fault, I have not hidden all the documentation, everything is at your disposal. 3 months, 4 months you are paying, and then you want to recover. Just imagine the inconvenience that is caused on these officers who innocently, not a fault of their own. You shift the punitive measure of recovering, and sometimes some of these recoveries you make, people end up going home with nothing, and yet it's not their fault. So the question of what action have you taken for those that caused this inconvenience? Simply doing nothing is not helpful. But also, have you explored? Because for me, my thinking is even that burden of recovering must be shared, because we are talking about civil servants, some of them who are lowly paid. Even the little that you want to recover is an inconvenience on their family, in their livelihood. It's simply not a fair way of saying we have taken remedial measures by enforcing these recoveries. Shouldn't there be a way of also punishing those by sharing maybe the cost of those recoveries so that they learn a lesson? Because I've not seen any effect when you say we have charged by just simply writing a letter to say exculpate yourself and the letter is on their file. That's why these errors keep occurring and occurring, because those that perpetrate it don't feel the pain. What does the letter do on their file anyway? But imagine the inconvenience caused on that officer who has to pay back, not a fault of their own. I do understand, but how do they even come back to say, please, you are paying me? Some of them may even have come back, say, you are paying me, I don't deserve this man. But because someone is sitting on the action they should take, no corrective measure is taken, and all of a sudden say we start recovering. It's very inconveniencing. So those people in charge or responsible for this error must not go unpunished. There must be a punishment for them. Now you are telling us that you have not done anything, but you have followed the person who suffered, who is suffering, to pay back. It is not fair, the inconvenience. So an action must be taken, Chair. We can't allow that response. I submit.
Controlling officer, words are very loud from Honorable Mwila, and that's the position of a committee. Let's see action. They can't just go scot-free. They have to be punished. And we expect you to be serious to an extent that you should provide evidence to this committee that indeed the punishment was executed. They should be, they should be deterrent. You should come up with measures that whenever someone is found in unwanting activities, especially to do with financial management, let's be serious. Let's seem to be tough. The biggest language that workers understand with regard to financial management is that tough language and tough action. let's punish these culprits. These officers who authorize these irregular payments, they should be punished. And as such, we expect it from you as a controlling officer, because that's what we institute discipline, financial discipline in your workers. Honorable members, I think we have done enough on this one. We can proceed to C. C, Honorable Mukumbi.
Thank you, Chairperson. Controlling officer, I suppose you are familiar with the Regulation 16, which deals with control and management of public stores. I'm sure you are familiar with that regulation. And contrary to this regulation, fuel in the amounts of 33,321 not accounted for in the period. The auditors were there. And the reasons you are giving is that you realize that you had gaps in your record keeping. And the second reason is that the engineer from provincial engineer was attending a workshop in Livingstone with the same vehicle where probably these receipts were. the logbook and all that. So the vehicle was out with the provincial engineer. So
speak through the chair, please.
I want to find out what challenges are you facing in record keeping in your province? Is it something that you can sort out within a province? Do you need more manpower? Or if you have, who is supervising them and what is happening? So that we don't have such small issues coming in as audit queries, surely. Receipts. Receipts. We are discussing receipts. Chairperson. The next question is, what action have you also taken against these officers that didn't provide such information to auditors? Chair, I submit.
Please proceed with your response. And
yes,
just before you respond, you have got officers that you have drawn from various departments at provincial level. They shouldn't just be seated here. They should also be answerable. Where you feel it's necessary to delegate, kindly please delegate. They've come here to work. Proceed, controlling officer.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, for that guidance. Honorable Chair, I want to answer the first one of the parts that has been asked by the Honorable Member, and this is that indeed we are understaffed. In certain cases we need staffing. Honorable Chair, you may be aware that Muchinga province is a new province, and as such certain departments have been borrowed from other departments. We are not fully fledged. But other than that, Honorable Chair, allow me to bring in the officer from water development that actually underwent this trip when the audit was in the process. Engineer Chimba.
What officer from the water department, can you proceed to respond?
Yes, Chair. Thank you very much. As the PS has said, Chair, I think during the audit, when they are auditing our fuel disposal, one of the issues they raised was that they needed to see the original logbook during that period of time. Then I was not around, Chair. Then during the audit period, I was not around, Chair. Then I think, Chair, that's what the PS said.
Controlling officer.
Chair, the controlling officer here has come with people who are not around at audit. So we don't know what you've come here to do if you can't assist your controlling officer. You've come here to say you are not there. Can they, Chair, through the controlling officer, can your people be serious?
Controlling officer, how do you refer a question, delegate a question on someone who is completely blank? And in fact, he's submitting to the committee that he wasn't even there when these audit queries were raised. Even during the time of audit, he wasn't there. I mean, the committees, I don't understand in that vein why you should come with a person who is not going to assist you in responding to the queries that have been raised by Auditor General. Maybe, Honorable Lungu.
Thank you, Chair. We seem to don't understand here, because you cannot be telling us that when one hasn't reported for a week, maybe for a week, or even maybe for 2 weeks, then that department will have no one to take over or to replace that person. As he's saying that he wasn't around during that period, are you telling this committee that this is how we have been working, depriving the people of Zambia for the services that are much needed to be rendered to them? The committee would like to know. I submit, Chair.
Controlling Officer, then who was there? Can you inform the committee, or maybe if the ones who are not there, can you give us a befitting response to that query? Can you respond?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Maybe I need to clarify part of what has been asked. The officer, when the audit was in process, there are certain documentations that were given to the auditors. But what was missing was the logbook, because the auditors could not admit the photocopies that were submitted to them. They needed the original copies of the logbook. Now, this is the logbook that was taken with the officer who had gone to Livingstone. He went with the logbook, and so we could not provide the original logbook as required by the auditors. So that was the challenge that we had. And then, Chair, the other thing is the issue of staffing. You asked about the other staff. In that office, as I mentioned, is the only officer that is there. So when he went to Livingstone, he could not provide the logbook as required by the auditors. Maybe I can ask my colleagues to help me further with that query.
Which colleague of yours? Director of Finance, can you assist your controlling officer?
Thank you, Chair. The disposal details for the fuel in question, the coupons, the receipts, they were availed, they were scrutinized. But now there was need to look at corroborative evidence from the logbook. Which logbook had gone with the officer to Livingstone, where there was the workshop. When he came, we've been trying to submit the logbook, but because the auditors they are not always in the office, and he's also a field worker. At a time when we want to see them, they are maybe in the field. When they are around, the officer is also in the field.
Okay, controlling officer, are you in a position to submit the aforesaid logbook now for verification by AG? Can you submit it for verification? Honorable members will proceed to D, which will be taken. Honorable Mfalali, D, on behalf of Honorable Mnyima. Yeah, they will make copies.
Thank you, Chair. Controlling officer, on behalf of the Honorable, he had a question. You have submitted that the Minister of Green Economy and Environment has procured automatic weather equipment which they have installed in Pika, Shwangandu, Chinsali, Isoka, Nakonde district, and that you have improved security protocols and maintenance procedures at the weather station.
Now the question is, why did you wait for the audit report for you to take corrective measures? And did the controlling officer of the meteorology department did not repair damaged equipment, some which was damaged for as far back as 2020? So why did they have to wait that long? If the newly acquired and installed weather equipment able to record and automated the weather information to all the districts under Muchinga province? If not, what measures have you put in place to ensure that rainfall parameters and other weather information is recorded and transmitted in all districts?
Controlling officer, can you respond to those two questions?
Oh. Thank you, Honorable Chair. I wish to say that one, the maintenance or repairs of certain equipments could not be done, like thermometers, because the manufacturers have stopped using or producing mercury thermometers. Instead, they have started producing automated thermometers. And these are the ones that the Ministry of Green Economy has actually bought and has distributed in some of our districts. To mention a few, Mpika, Shiwangandu, Chinsali, Isoka, and Nakonde. These districts out of the 8 that we have been facilitated with the automated weather machines, which are actually getting data in place of the old equipment that we had. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Falari. I think, controlling officer, the question is, why did you have to take long for you to swing into action, either to talk to green economy or to procure these equipments that were actually necessary for weather forecasts? Why did you have to wait for the Auditor General's office to come, and that's when you start looking for equipment and you put? Why did you have to wait?
Chair, allow me to invite the officer to help me. The officer.
Order, controlling officer, I have to allow you to speak.
Oh,
so kindly proceed to respond.
Chair, allow me to invite the officer from the Meteorological Department to help me to answer that question.
Officer from the Meteorological Department, kindly respond.
Thank you, Chair. Just answering to the question that the Honorable has raised. When you look at the Zambia Meteorological Department, most of the courses that are done internationally. And when you look at the instrument and maintenance of these weather meteorological instruments are also done abroad. And currently, right now, we only have 3 engineers from the department who are based in Osaka. So they usually conduct their routine checks in these meteorological instruments. And as the controlling officer mentioned, to say we are moving out from the mercury operated instruments, we are going digital. It has been so hard to replace these reported meteorological instruments that are appearing in our query, because we are no longer using the thermometer liquid instruments. We are using digital. And just to procure this same said instrument, it's quite expensive because they are also sourced outside Zambia. And according to WMO, these instruments can only be sourced from the United Kingdom, not any other. So this is why the initiative of Green Economy came up with automated weather instruments that they've rolled out in our province as Mchinga. And so far we've received in those stations that have been mentioned. In terms of security, why we took long, it has not been easy because the offices where meteorological stations are based are under agriculture. So agriculture, they've got their own security personnel that also look at our station. But based on the theft that we've experienced so far, because we went as far as drilling these the solar panels which have been vandalized, we have seen to say it was lack of the awareness programs that the community didn't have. But elsewhere where we have installed these instruments, because of the knowledge that people have, those instruments are not vandalized, except for Isoka. But now we have seen a change. People are getting to know and appreciating the meteorological weather station. I submit, Chair.
Honorable Mfalari.
Thank you so much, Chair. I think, did you write to indicate that these machines can no longer be repaired to your superiors through controlling officer?
Controlling officer, can you respond?
Thank you, Chair. Allow me again to invite the officer from Meteorological to help me.
Officer from Meteorological Department, can you respond?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Honorable, for that question. What happens is that we usually receive funding for maintenance of these meteorological instruments. And usually we carry out maintenance works. And what happens is that the officers that are on ground, maintenance cannot just be replacing the instruments. In our field, even just checking the sensors on how they are operating, it's part of maintenance. Even checking the date on the rain gauges is part of maintenance.
There's a point of order.
So the
officer from Meteorological Department, there's a point of order from Honorable Mfalari.
Yes, sir.
Honorable Mfalari.
Thank you so much, controlling officer, through you. We appreciate where you do your maintenance. But my question is, did you write to indicate that this equipment is obsolete and cannot be repaired locally? Did you write as a department to your controlling officer at the province, through the province, to green economy, where you, which is the main ministry? Did you write? I think that's the question we are asking. Did you write at any given time to indicate that you have a challenge with this equipment?
Controlling officer, proceed with the response.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. The ministry got to know about this stolen equipment when it was reported to them that the equipment at Isoka was stolen, and they observed that they were not getting the data that was required. And so what they said was that they have procured automated data equipment which is going to be supplied to the districts, and that maintaining those ones that were destroyed, that were damaged, it was difficult because they have stopped using. Sorry.
Controlling officer, there's a point of order from Honorable Mfalari. Honorable Mfalari, what's the point of order?
Chair, the question is straightforward. The question is very straightforward. Did this occurrence of having obsolete equipment, was it reported anywhere? That's my question. Was it reported, controlling officer? Did you report as a province about this to the ministry?
Controlling officer, can we respond?
Honorable Chair, we did not write.
Okay. Honorable member, they didn't write. So, in the interest of progress, let's move to head 34. We are not getting any befitting responses, and I'm glad, controlling officer, you have answered that you didn't, instead of going round and round and round. Honorable Mwila, on A. Can we proceed with A?
Thank you very much, Chair. 34 on funding and expenditure. It's clear from your response that you are aware of the activities on which the remaining funds that were not spent at the end of the year, you are aware of the activities where these funds should be applied. So my question is, what challenges did you face in the course of the year for you not to have spent these funds on the activities that you already know and have outlined in your response? And further to that, what is the status now, considering that we are ending this year? Have the funds been spent? I thank you, Chair.
Controlling Officer, respond.
Thank you, Chair. Allow me to invite Director of Finance to help me to answer that query. But maybe perhaps even before he comes in, I mentioned that much of the money is supposed to go towards the compensating people or property owners in Nakonde, where the border post is supposed to be extended to. And they were partly paid, but they reclaimed, they said what they were paid was not sufficient, because there were two assessments that were made. One was made by RDA, the other assessment was made by the Zambia Revenue Authority, and according to them, the payment was made based on RDA assessment, which was lower, and the ZRA assessment was higher. So after they got the money, then they came back, they said what we were given is not sufficient. They would rather have been paid based on the ZRA assessment. So just, I think, 2-3 weeks ago, we sent officers to go and sit down with them so that we find a solution to that. And I had given instructions to the officers that had gone there that they write a report, which report we will send to RDA officers and RDA offices, headquarters, and ZRA, so that maybe they can agree to pay the complainants based on the ZRA assessment. That is how far we've gone. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Mwida, follow-up question?
Thank you, Chair. Controlling Officer, I believe and I know we have one government only, the Republic of Zambia. Now, that activity regarding compensation, how does it happen that we have two government institutions, RDA, ZRA, attending to the same function and coming up with different assessments, and understandably so, because all that information is leaking to those that need to be compensated, and obviously they will go for the higher one. Who is supposed to do that assignment? Because there shouldn't be this confusion. We have one government, and this is a government project to compensate those who are affected. So who is supposed to do it? Because government will end up losing money because someone else whose role it is not to do the evaluation and recommend the compensation has taken up an assignment which they are not supposed to do. So who is responsible for doing the evaluation and advising the government on the amount for compensation? I thank you, Chair.
Controlling Officer, can you respond to the question?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I think we had two things here. RDA was interested in expanding the road, and then ZRA was interested in extending their yard. So perhaps that's why we had those two. Now, in trying to extend the yard for ZRA, they actually included even part of that which was supposed to be for the road. So RDA was only interested in extending the road because they wanted to create a dual carriageway. So that's why I think we had those differences. Now, when it came to paying the complainants, they paid them based on the RDA assessment. And that's why we still have those complaints by the affected people to say, no, they were underpaid. They needed to be paid based on the ZRA assessment. Thank you, Chair.
Controlling officer, why didn't you coordinate this work activity? Because I think you can see from the first that there was lack of coordination. RDA was supposed to sit down with ZRA and agreed on one government position. You can't have one institution doing this, the other institution doing the other thing, pulling each other. That creates confusion. So our advice from the committee is that that activity was supposed to have been coordinated. And to that effect, I think it's lesson enough for you. For future, programs or projects, ensure that there's coordination prior to executing some of these things like compensations. Compensations are very tricky. They attract the attention of a lot of people. So to that effect, we advise you to ensure that you coordinate some of these programs and projects. Honorable members can proceed to B, which is failure to disburse youth scheme grants. Failure to disburse youth scheme grant funds. Controlling officer, you have submitted that amount totaling 232,901 remain undisbursed due to administrative bottlenecks and the stringent verification procedures that contributed to the slowdown of the disbursement process. Now the committee would want to know, have you conducted any monitoring of the projects that are being implemented by beneficiaries? That's question number one. The second question, the payment schedule in Appendix 3 show that there was an unspent balance of 45,273.56 ngwe. Have you now disbursed all the remaining funds? The committee would like to know, would want to get responses from those two questions. Controlling officer, proceed.
Thank you, Chair, for those questions. Allow me, Chair, to call upon the officer from the Youth Department to help me answer that question. Madam.
Thank you, Chair. As the controlling officers are alluded, all the monies has been disbursed, and we are yet to do the monitoring. I submit.
Honorable members, any follow-up questions? To C. Progress, then we go to C, which is failure to pay distributors of relief maize. Controlling officer, you have indicated that some distributors could not be paid on time due to their failure to submit retirement documents, and that the contract for Caritas Mpika was terminated for failing to distribute all the inputs. Proceed. Honorable Mkumbi. C.
Thank you, Chair. So, controlling officer, has the 108 metric tons of maize that Caritas Mpika failed to deliver been delivered? So have they delivered the consignment? So maybe you can pick up that. And why did it take them that long to deliver? Thank you, Chair.
Controlling officer, can you respond?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Caritas Mpika managed to distribute in certain areas, but in hard to reach areas they could not manage to distribute. One of the hard to reach areas where they failed to distribute is Nabwalia. I think the honorable members here may have heard about Nabwalia Chuombo and the terrain in that area. In most cases, Honorable Chair, we have had to airlift the relief maize using helicopters because of the difficult nature of the terrain that side. But allow me to say that we have since engaged another project implementing partner who stays in Nabwalia Chuombo. And we sat with the DMMU head office, and we agreed that instead of waiting for the rains to fall, in which case the roads become impassable and you cannot reach the area, and we know that this is a yearly occurrence, we decided that we should be crossing the relief maize in September and October before it rains. And we have done that, Honorable Chair, because the Luangwa River gets dry in October, September, it gets dry, and vehicles can actually cross from Lundazi. So we have managed to get maize from Lundazi and crossed it to Nabwalia Chiwombo, and asked the implementing partner who stays there, that is a Catholic priest, to actually do the distribution. So the relief maize has now been saved to the people. Thank you, Honorable Chair. I submit.
Honorable Mkumbe, any follow-up? Okay, we can then proceed to D. Honorable Mwamba. D is on unauthorized fuel drawings.
Thank you very much, Chair. Controlling Officer, we do appreciate that you have given us some references in Appendix 5, but yet again, when you go through Appendix 5, your deposit slips, some of them are not legible at all. So please ensure that when you do submit something, make sure that, you know, there's reference to it. And then also, I haven't yet asked my question, Chair. My next comment also is that, yes, the officer has managed to repay the amounts owing, but there's still also 79 kwacha that is still pending on the same, because it's supposed to be 18,879. So they've repaid 4,300, 3,000 kwacha, 9,000 kwacha, and 2,500, which amounts to 18,800. So there's 79 kwacha that is still pending on this transaction. So this has happened, money has been recovered. Now the question is, what measures have you put in place to ensure that the situation does not reoccur in the future? I submit.
Controlling Officer, can you respond?
Thank you, Chair. Allow me to call upon the Principal Accountant to help me to answer that question. Principal Accountant.
Principal Accountant, where are you? Kindly proceed to respond.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. What we have done is we have put in place an officer that will be administering fuel for these other departments that we have. The stores officer that has been identified and is trained, so that despite these other departments paying for fuel, he'll be there to administer. And I think it is easy for us to hold him accountable and ensure that even the fuel, as they are managing it, will be able to look at that office. I think one of the challenges that we had is the line department managing their own fuel, and we had the shortage of stores officers, but at least now we have sourced for a person that is actually just stationed to ensure that the fuel is managed and we're able to account for it. I think that in itself, I think it would be easier for us now to manage fuel like the way it was before. I think that was a lapse that we identified, and moving forward, we feel that this will be actually handled in a professional manner. Thank you so much.
Honorable Mwamba, any follow-up question?
Yes, we do appreciate that you have put up a person that will deal solely with fuel. Now, who is the authorized signatory to approve for that fuel?
Controlling Officer, take that question.
You can take it. Yes, Chair, thank you. Allow me to ask Principal Accountant to continue with the answer.
Principal Accountant, kindly proceed.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chair. What we've done is with now a stores officer at the office, we have also instituted that someone will be able to request for the fuel, there should be an officer that is independent from the department, just to ensure that they're able to authorize that payment, to ensure that that payment is eligible and it's actually for that particular department. Then the officer from that user department definitely will also approve, just to show that actually they are in agreement with that activity that is supposed to be done from that particular department. So we have put independent people that are able to review. Then later on a monthly basis, as account will be reviewing just to do the fuel reconciliation, just to see to it that actually what these people have done, we are able to curb and apply collective measures on a monthly basis. So that in case there's anything that has happened within that particular month, we are able to put collective measures and ensure that actually we are able to manage the fuel within that particular. So similarly, as we are doing the bank reconciliation on fuel, we have also put measures so that on a monthly basis we are able to reconcile and ensure that actually what has been paid and we have authorized when we are doing the reconciliation is actually that which has been approved by the authorizing persons that now we have put in place. Thank you so much, Chair. I submit.
Honorable Lungu.
Thank you, Chair. I seek for indulgence to go to C over DMMU. Failure to pay distribution of relief maize.
Proceed.
Yeah, first and foremost, I just want to find out, or the committee would like to find out, there's where the DC was involved over the distribution of maize. On page 13, yeah, this committee has been informed that the institution that was mandated to distribute the said maize was DMMU. How then did the DC found himself in this scandal? And on page 13, I just want to find out, the contract was given to these people who were given this mandate to distribute the maize. I think it was in December 2022. It was only completed in 2023, 30th April. Why did it take so long for this exercise to be executed? I just want to find out, because we live with these people in the rural areas, and we have seen how these people are struggling just to put food on the table. Now, for you officers who have been mandated to execute these duties, failing just to deliver the maize to our poor people, it's very sad. So I just want to find out why it happened like that, and what measures have you put in place so that in future we don't have these stories again. I submit, Chair. Thank you.
Controlling officer, kindly take that very last one now.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. In the first place, Honorable Member, you will realize that relief food is normally given during the time when it is needed most, and this is the period between maybe December up to about March, when the hunger is at its highest. So perhaps this is why it overlapped into the next year. But answering to the other queries, according to the guidelines, when you engage the project implementing partners for distribution of relief for maize to the needy communities, we pay, upon signing the contract, we pay 50%. Then when they have completed distributing the maize, that is when you pay the remaining 50%. So at the time of the audit, we had paid 50% to project implementing partners that were handling the distribution of the maize. We had not completed paying the remaining amount because they had not yet completed distributing the maize. But immediately they completed distributing the maize, we paid them the remaining 50%. And Chair, I can confirm that all of them have since been paid, except this one where there was a problem where we deducted the money based on what was distributed. The other part is the money that went missing through the DC. And on the other part that you have asked why the DC got involved, you may be aware, Chair, that district commissioners are the chairpersons for district disaster management committees. So by virtue of that, the DC was also involved in monitoring and checking that the work was being done. Unfortunately, Chair, the DC helped himself with the maize that was supposed to go to the vulnerable, and hence the disciplinary action that was taken on him. I submit, Chair.
Thank you, Controlling Officer. I think we have now concluded our interaction with you, but before we can release you, as a committee, we would want to mention to you that accountability of public funds is very cardinal, and such you should ensure that you institute or uphold financial discipline and prudence in handling public resources amongst your officers. We know that all these queries that were cited by the Auditor General cannot be there if your auditors are financially disciplined and that there is prudence. And this responsibility entire sits in your office. So if you don't want to use some of the tools or authorities that have been given to you with regards to financial management and prudence, this committee, I'm sorry, won't be kind with you. We ensure that we push you so that there's accountability and we close all the leakages with regards to financial flows. To that effect, Controlling Officer, I would like to lift the immunity that was ushered upon you, and that now you are free to go.
Thank you so much, Chair. We thank you so much for the council and for the council.
The Vice President's question time.
Questions for oral answer understanding order number 76.
For a matter to be admitted, it has to be of recent occurrence.
Continue watching Parliament TV, a channel dedicated to bring Parliament closer to you.
My eParliament mobile application. First, download the app on either Play Store or App Store and install. After installation, open the app. Step 1. Register your personal information, that's your names, gender, NRC, and date of birth. Step 2. Add your contact information, your email, phone number, and home address. Step 3. Select your constituency. Step 4. Create your 4-digit PIN. At this point, the system will send an SMS to your mobile number with a one-time passcode. Step 5. Confirm with one-time passcode that was sent to your mobile. Step 6. Sign in using your phone number and the 4-digit PIN. And Step 7. Create your submission and submit. My eParliament, bringing Parliament closer to you.
This land, the land that I love, the land that
Maddest beat by the baddest producer. Fast beats on the 1-2.
Wasoniweka takufaya ukuchula yonse niweka takupanga future kala ifikapo niweka kuma ukabeula ni ule ati mfwiti and they know your story but they hate your glory eti bakutashe eti kuba mwana Adamu so me I appreciate myself I appreciate me Nekweba me I appreciate me I appreciate Ngauleshta pala ichefya bakwita komanda pala ichefya ngomu soja na chita sarenda baba na agenda mapulitenda bawoyo aba bantu bawoyo bali abanoga bosangwana bose bantu bawoyo abakutemwa ebintu balanda abantu bawoyo bali abanoga bosangwana bantu bawoyo abakutemwa lyonse bibi balanda abantu bawoyo I love the life that I live the life that I want. Let me stop myself some, cause I appreciate myself. I appreciate me. When I look in the mirror, nakamona kapondo, that's my hero. I'm my hero. When you look in the mirror, tell me what you see. That's your hero. Be your hero. Ilonde kolwa. Yeah. Let me spoil myself. I appreciate you. Oh Lord, muwaso niweka takufaya ukuchula yonse niweka takupanga future kala ifikapo niweka kuma ukabeula ni ule ati mfwiti and they know your story but they hate your glory eti bakutashe eti kuba mwana Adamu so me I appreciate myself I appreciate me Nekweba me I appreciate me I appreciate your story.
Maddest beat by the baddest producer.
That's your story.
Fast beats on the 1-2. Shyla, Aban,
Oh no. Nakulila munzoni nobody. Nobody. Ondandiza kunchoza mabuto. Nobody kwenzebe. Somunileke ngondweleko. Bangono chabe. Munisiye ngondweleko. Bangono chabe. Nakulila munzoni nobody. Nobody. Ondandiza kunchoza mabuto. Nobody. Awe. Mafuno kona. Awe. Ni mafuno kona. Subiba kwenye mafuno kondela awe mafuno kon suziba kwena chokela nakula na mavuto leo mulungu ananidalisa mafuno kon suziba kwena pita leo mavuto nakula nayo mulungu ananidalisa mafuno kondela. Gala yambale no that son balule zidide rap chauffeur de pano Jenzomba international makare bo izangalule alewanda amilena oyogelo ulinae ewamushe soze bachale geneza mo something later uyogelo wamene usula ni wandelu yesa kumupiri babo something later bade mubiri be negara hapo mubiri be upapa emoji mwera she's a pretty girl mungane sema pretty mukazi we ufuna ungonzunza bebambili bebamufuna iwe mubili vemuchabe kelo wasokaliza bamavuto pesa fine body pretty face nikogeza ibangono bamazisunga so mugwiririre iwe never let go elitukwacha elitudola zaka zambo kumbwa vene wenzosula ka attention na dedication uzakatapwa zakasanduka yo motivation mami uzibe you are something special asalenge ugweselevo changamuka pasi chinja tempo bali beta mafikeko chidu chako nichosunga na mutima onse paka moshimwela uzambo kondwa donse usambirina vena mupiri femo takbireka negero hapa mubiri be upapa emoji mwera she's a pretty girl mungana sema pretty girl sis na umubelela mumeso yobade moneka kuwelo lelangatwa musendokezalila mutule the fire shelter but teti ukule olokumbwa braziliani madamu alina mikule nimwetupa mpula washalolelila beauty ukumbwa kwali baba ilipilila to the same to your partner ukasekelela notakasoma inizo vyotatusumina wilenga kabutukila mashuka tyati exao lafuna njala sibala za mwandi akasokabi ingisha muvye fandi wimono kubutuluka nigoti musandi oyogelo ulinae iwamushe soze machale geneza mo something later uyogelo wamene usula ni wandelu yesa kumupiri babo something later bade mubiri be negara hapo mubiri be upapa emoji mwera she's a pretty girl mungana sema pretty girl Vincenzo na rap chauffeur de pano international magare wangu bagale bwangu.
Zona feeling ni mama ulimwene uliliwe. I double tap the screen on you, huh? You are so majorly. Elotika cheza, you and me. Happiness is free. Happiness is free. Elotima seka, you and me. Happiness is free. Happiness is free. International or local. International or local. Who you even in Shamboko? Who you even in Shamboko? International or local. International or local. Who you even in Shamboko? Who you even in Shamboko?
Mwamene ningalela ningakolope na mazimu karibata. I follow your lead and I follow you on Instagram.
Right.
I know betting your father, the God of Abraham. No, no, I'm addicted to you, need some kilograms. Elotica cheza, you and me. Happiness is free. Happiness is free. Elotima seka, you and me. Happiness is free. Happiness is free. International, international. Hey, yeah, yeah. Who you have in Shamboko? Who you have in Shamboko? International, international. Yeah. Who you have in Shamboko? Who you have in Shamboko?
Won't move cause I feel at home. With you I am in my zone. DJ, can you play my song? Got a dream I can call my own.
Yeah, won't move cause I feel at home. With you, I am in my zone. DJ, can you play my song? Got a dream I can call my own.
Tika cheza, you and me. Happiness is free. Happiness is free. Elotima seka, happiness is free. Happiness is free. Elotima seka, you and me. Happiness is free. Happiness is free. International or local.
Who you have in Shamboko?
Who you have in Shamboko?
Falling, falling, falling.
Uyu mutima nakupasa mpande yake. Sini malapia, nitampenda yake. Iyo logo nikupasa uroni nje. Sini malapia, nitabiriva yake. Kozi mulungu, alikuwa nawe. Kozi mulungu, alikuwa nawe. If you want to leave you enda, iyo ni rosi yako sinzafa ukaenda. Olomunirije waliteni, I'll never give up on love. Mairo kirikiti mujikoni, inewe vinange. Mambo ya kuleta pele,
no other way of the forces of patriotism succeeding in society without those in leadership living in such a way as to be patriotic themselves. If leaders are not patriotic, nobody else will learn how to do good things towards fellow human beings. If you're not a patriot, if you don't develop spiritual patriotism in life, then you are destroying the nation as a whole. So patriotism really is a force that brings out success in any situation. Patriotism is very key in terms of human beings living together, human beings working together, human beings developing things together. Without that spirit of patriotism, we can't go very far.
There were 59,439 registered cashew nut farmers in Western Province.
The situation as it is, I'm incapacitated.
The good people of Petauke, especially in Nyika 1, where we don't have water.
This is now a serious risk on the people with Testezi. Last week we registered one maternal death.
Within the CDF, we can build palaces for all chiefs in our country.
Minister, when are we going to have money? When are we going to construct those?
Catch us live on DSTV channel 272, OTV channel 28, Topstar channel 5, or visit the National Assembly of Zambia Facebook page. Parliament Television, bringing Parliament closer to you.
Her Honor, the Vice President's question time.
Questions for oral answer understanding order number 76.
For a matter to be admitted, it has to be of recent occurrence.
Continue watching Parliament TV, a channel dedicated to bring Parliament closer to you.
My eParliament mobile application. First, download the app on either Play Store or App Store and install. After installation, open the app. Step 1. register your personal information, that's your names, gender, NRC, and date of birth. Step 2, add your contact information, your email, phone number, and home address. Step 3, select your constituency. Step 4, create your 4-digit PIN. At this point, the system will send an SMS to your mobile number with a one-time passcode. Step 5, confirm with one-time passcode that was sent to your mobile. Step 6, sign in using your phone number and the 4-digit PIN. And Step 7, create your submission and submit. My e-Parliament, bringing Parliament closer to you.
She's doing her work very well. She's able to preside very well. She's a very strong person.
She's a team player and also a humility. The ability to be able to interact with the lowest team structure member.
For me, she has performed exceptionally well, especially in strengthening the oversight function that Parliament should have.
What is very interesting is that she has not gone in there and just done what the previous speakers have done. What she has done is she's gone in there, and I see she has introduced new things that were not before.
Fondly referred to as the People's Speaker, with a relentless drive and unwavering determination, the Right Honourable Speaker Madam Nelly Muti MP has shattered glass ceilings and blazed trails in the country's legislature. As the first female Speaker of the National Assembly of Zambia, she has not only presided over business in the House, but has also transformed the landscape of parliamentary business through her groundbreaking innovations. Honourable Muti's brilliance extends beyond the chamber. She's a tireless advocate for women's rights. Her journey from humble beginnings to becoming a celebrated figure in the male-dominated field exemplifies her resilience and commitment to contribute to democracy and equality. Speaker Muti MP is a living testament to the extraordinary heights that a powerful woman can reach when armed with vision, expertise and boundless dedication.
Stepping up in this chair, I mean, there are bigger shoes that have walked through in and out of this office. So when I came in, I'm a small person. I can fit in those shoes. If I can fit. If they are too big, I can put a tissue ahead in front there, so that at least the shoe cannot slip off as I walk. And if the shoe becomes tight, I can loosen a bit, take the feet out.